Welcome to the Smash Masters podcast, hosted by Stefan Eschi and Nick Priest. This is where we dig into the auto body collision repair field and talk quality repair methods and how the industry is always changing. Buckle up, it gonna get bumpy.
Hey. Good afternoon, good evening.
Evening.
I know you like the word evening a lot better than afternoon. So,
I won't give you any more shit on that. Don't worry.
Alex
Alex is first.
Good afternoon, Alex.
Okay. You did that just to bug me. Oh, man. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Smash Masters podcast, episode 54.
Yeah. What's up, Nick? How you
I
doing,
saw a whole bunch of videos and pictures and stuff from the Anson open house over the weekend. It looked like a great time. Sorry to have missed it, but I'm glad you guys all did that, and I hope y'all collaborated on some awesome tools for the rest of us.
Right.
Why not, right? Justin, what's up, dude? Yeah, anyway.
The open house did look like a good show. I seen Mr. Dwayne Dean won himself some cool stuff, so that's pretty awesome.
Did he? He was hoping.
Yep, and while we have Dent Vision Tools in here, he has the new Stormbreaker slide hammer coming out.
You remember the name of it?
Yes, I did. And he, we're going to be giving one of those away on the show once they become available.
Oh, okay.
Once they become available.
I'm learning things right here on the show just with the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So,
really, I love that. So I there was one other thing. You got something else?
No, the only other thing that we have is the mention about the Charles's competition.
Right. So there's Charles Camp from Cam Auto is doing a GPR PDR competition. Now, I would love to show you guys or tell you guys a bunch of information on it, but I don't really have any. So what we're doing is we're having Charles on next week in the beginning of the show for like 5-10 minutes. He's going to tell us all about it, and he's going to answer any questions you guys have. So if you have any questions on it, head to this post is on our Facebook. Just add some questions in like Daniel did. And if you have questions or if you want to know anything about it, and stop by the show next week.
We will. We'll hopefully be able to answer everything by then for you guys. But questions would be good. Just go through there, like you said, hit them up. And I don't know how this guy got this Smash Master shirt, but it's throwing me off. It's kind of cool.
You like that, huh? I covered up the Kavanagh logo on his shirt. But you know, it says Kavanagh up there still. So
what's up, Daniel?
But yeah, that's I will tell everyone I entered. I put my name in the hat. I know a few other people have. You can head there, and the way I get picked to get in it is that other people have to go to that link, fill out the form, and put my name in for the vote. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to go. You don't have to participate. You can just vote for me. And then I get to go and make a fool of myself in front of a bunch of really good dent techs. But I'm planning to have a lot of fun. Honestly, it looks like fun. Or I won't get picked. Yeah, one or the other.
Good evening, Matt.
Hey,
how you doing?
Matt Duzoy. I don't know how to say his name now.
Yeah, you don't just pronounce it while you while you're working. Just all right, cool.
I didn't know before. Now I know. All right, so let's not keep our guests waiting any longer.
Yeah, we got Don Kavanagh in the house, and he's ready to come in.
Uncle Don.
Hey guys,
how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on. First of all, I'm already having a great time.
Awesome. Excellent.
So we got to see you at SEMA this year, which was a nice surprise.
It was for me as well. That was cool.
And Daniel says he'll vote for me. I'll vote for you, Daniel. How about that?
Hey, Lee.
Yeah. So I want to know basics. So you're from Minnesota?
Yep. I
You
love
own
how
that
you.
craft.
I love how you say that. Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Minnesota. So my family's from like Illinois.
Oh,
So
sure. You got
I've been told
too, right? Yeah.
I've been told I have a Midwestern accent, even though I'm born and raised here in Connecticut.
Justin, he was the superstar. Hey, Justin, we're gonna actually go do lunch on Friday. You know, I don't know if you heard, but we had a little snafu with the border. They didn't want to let a lot of the Cam Auto stuff over that border, and it got hung up in customs. And so we were like, what are we going to do? Now I had the pull tower, I had the tension bars, all that stuff, but I didn't have a lot of the other stuff. And then all of a sudden, Justin is just a rock star. He goes, well, I got a lot of stuff, you know, which I didn't even know. I just happened to hear after the fact. And here he's coming in left and right with all this stuff. He has got one of the coolest setups. His truck is state of the art. Justin should have a class on just how to set up a van to have everything in it. It's a small van, but it's got as much as my shop has in it. It's crazy.
Wow.
And organized too.
That's awesome.
Well,
yeah.
We met Justin at MT. Actually, I met him both last year and the year before.
Nice.
And I had a great time. So maybe we'll have Justin on sometime, talk about his
You
van
should.
setup.
You should.
Yeah.
He was going to actually train with me. I think he said 2020 or 2021. And the day before, and he was a body guy. And the day before he was going to come, they got hail. And so he just had to, you know, go back to doing that, you know. So
yeah, never got the chance to.
Yeah, never did. But he obviously did on his own, and he's doing great, you know.
Yeah. Well, Justin, since Don mentioned the truck, you got to give us a little small tour of your truck while whenever you can here soon. That'd be cool to see.
Absolutely.
He took up pack outs to a new level. I love it.
Nice.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Got to meet his wife and everything too. We had a nice dinner that night. And it's good.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. She came to MTE both times too. So it's nice to meet her as well. So I mean, you were mentioning the event. So you, for those who don't know, you just had a Cam Auto kind of training demo event at your shop up in Minnesota.
Yep.
The so how did that come to be? Like, how did that get started?
Well, it's funny because I've been talking to Charles for years and years about got to do an event. We got to do an event. We got to do something, you know. And it was just one of those things where we finally, and we mentioned it last year, and then we just never did it. And then we're both two of the easiest going people, so we're not closers. I feel like we're givers. You know, we want to learn and from each other and give and take and stuff, but we just never did it. So finally, I said, "That's it. We're doing it. That's all there is to it." You know, and
here's the day.
It's just that's it. This is the time. But what was so incredible is the thing in Dubai. He won the best. What was it? Best innovation of
best
products.
Innovative product.
Innovative products. So cool. And I didn't understand how incredible that was because he's so humble. You know, you got to pry things out of Charles because he's just such a good person, you know, and humble. Really humble. And so there's first, second, third, fourth places in these competitions. They have 18 judges, independent judges, that vote on everything. Well, there was no second, third, fourth, fifth places because all 18 judges voted 100% for Cam Auto. So
wow,
his innovations through the roof. Like he is, hey, Bobby. And it's just absolutely crazy how that is, you know, it's just like that says a lot. I mean,
it really does.
One of those things, you know, he might not be as big as some of the others, but his innovation is is key. Is just amazing.
He does have some amazing tools out there, and
you should see what's cooking in his brain that I'm not going to say.
He's always thinking up something.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did see the Dubai awards and stuff kind of briefly through the socials, and they just seemed like they just kind of were there for a small time, and nobody talked about them again. But I mean, to go to Dubai to get an award like that and to get all 18 people to vote for you, you've got to be doing something right. And
absolutely,
that's something else for sure.
It really does. And it was so interesting. I've had so many of these. Oh, sweet guys, sweet, nice. I have so many Cam Auto things that we weren't even using properly or at all because we just didn't really understand it. And so there was such knowledge bombs dropped. It was just like Troy and I were looking at each other, high-fiving left and right, like, oh my gosh, we just can't wait, here you got this stuff for years and you're not doing anything with it,
Right.
Not doing it the right way per se. You're right, Lee. He really is just an innovator to the max. And
not only that, but after using his tools, so he sent me a bunch of his tools early on in my glue pulling career, and I'd be using them. But then I got to work with Charles at a few trade shows, and he showed me like some of his stuff I was using the wrong way, and he showed me how to use this stuff, and it's just unlocked repairability, like just insane. It's really innovative stuff. And I mean, a little bit of guidance goes a long way. So for those that are listening, if you haven't gotten any training with glue pulling and you want to get into glue pulling, I highly recommend training. Cam Auto offers that. Kiko offers it. AAI offers it. I mean, there's lots of options out there.
There's lots of good options. Lots of good options.
The training is super important. And that's why these companies are offering the training. Basically, they're not making money on the training. They're doing it so that you know how to use their products. Yep. And Lee is correct here.
Yeah.
What most people don't understand about Cam Auto is the products come from the collision side, not from the PDR side. So Cam Auto is just born out of collision.
I have seen on some of his social posts that you could PDR that now out of some of that, but they didn't see maybe some of the befores. And I know that I seen some of the befores that you guys were doing in your shop, and they were not small damage by no means.
So he said, you have a 6-pound, and I've seen him do it many times, but I didn't know he was doing it at my place. Hey, you got a 6-pound sledgehammer at home? I go, I do. I'll bring it. He wraps it up in a terry cloth. Oh, this will be better.
Yeah.
And then the guy that owned the car was sitting there. No, it's a total rig and everything, but it's kind of funny. He's just like, he didn't realize we were going to do that much damage to it.
Yeah. And
little dents.
Right.
You guys used his floor puller, right, to pull all that out? Or
yeah.
Nothing else attached to that, just floor pullers. And
we did floor pullers. We did, of course we did the tower pull. We used pretty much everything, but a lot of the bigger stuff we were using that pull tower. Yeah. He's like, God, this is one of the oldest pull towers around. I said, well, I got one of the first ones, man. I wasn't going to wait, Well, I've done this, and this now. So I got one of the older ones, but it still just holds like, so Matt, hey, Matty. It's also hosting.
Yeah, we were just talking about
Matt. Yeah. This is big, huge.
Yeah. Matt, if you have any questions about that GPR competition, we have a post in our Smash Masters group. Charles is coming on next week to answer questions. So if you have any questions, stop by next week or leave them in the post in our Facebook. But yeah, it should be interesting. He's doing like $10,000 first place prize, a $5,000 second.
That's a lot of good stuff.
Just for experience alone. I mean, to be able to work next to some of these guys, I mean, that's enough for me.
I think there's going to be some really talented hands that end up being in this competition. I would. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
what dates was that, you guys? You just had it up and I didn't even lock it in.
Well, Matt says July 11th to 13th. I'm going to trust him on that one.
Okay.
It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And I do know this much. It's a 16-hour repair. He's giving 16 hours, 2 8-hour days.
Yeah.
To work on this dent. So, I mean, that's kind of up my alley. And but these are gotta be huge.
Yeah, it's kind of intimidating when you're doing the Dental Olympics and they give you 40 minutes, right? Like,
right.
No,
right.
And this is bigger, but still, it's nice to have a little. Yeah, I can go to lunch. I can think about this. I can, reevaluate. I can, I don't know about you guys, but when I do big repairs, whether it's glue pulling or whatever, we've got about 10 lights. We don't need 10 lights, but we unfortunately have them because I'm just a glutton for punishment and I love technology. So I got the new, of course, the new carbon tech light and everything too. But what's interesting is I'll set up a light on the panel and sometimes even two, and I'll leave the light on and I won't even touch it for the whole day. But every time I walk by it, I'm looking at it at a different angle. I change my mind sometimes 3, 4, 5 times I'm going to start something like that because I've always got something else to do. And so that has been something I just started doing about 5 years ago. And I think it is incredibly, if you can do that, try it, because we were in the back room and Nick said something. I just have to bring it up because I think it's awesome. We were talking about, I always say, I had a lost day. And he goes, you got to change that L to learn. You learned that day. And I just love that, Nick, because you might not have done it the right way. You might not have started the dent the right way, but you learned that you're not going to ever do that again. So that's brilliant. I absolutely love that. That's going to be my takeaway today.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like to say some days we win. Some days we learn, and if you keep that mindset, you can go about it and feel good about it, regardless how the damage comes out. So, and like you said, having a light on something and looking at it. So, Body Man and the collision. Have you done collision? We'll get into your how you come through in just a second. But you've never done collision.
I've never done body work in my life. No.
So, the body collision guy term for that is, if you're really old school, you'll stare at it and smoke cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. But the newer guys like me, I would come in and I would set a job up and I would drink a little bit of coffee, have some coffee, and I'd look at it and kind of evaluate, maybe look over here, maybe look over there, and just kind of get a graph of how I want to set this up. And by the time I get done with my coffee or where I feel good about it, then we can go in and roll on. And I know exactly how I want to do this, that, and the other, because I've sat there and planned it and, seen.
You're repairing it in your head.
Right.
You're going, right. I'm going to do this, and then that's going to do that. And then I'm going to do this. And then wait, maybe I don't like that. Let's go back, and then let's start by doing this, yeah, I like that, and it just, I'll just stare at a dent. I mean, I've had people come up to me. I learn a lot more than when most people.
Sometimes it's true.
Right. And
I've had people come up to me while I'm staring at a dent and go, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I'm just thinking about
just talking." Someone said the other day, if you see me talking to myself or a panel, just leave me alone. I'm having a team meeting. I love that. I'm like,
I'm going to use that.
Talking to the metal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Heart's in here. What's up, Hart? So I think Bobby asked up here a few. He's let me put it up here. He always wondered about, were you self-trained or did someone teach you? So that's a good topic to start back in some of the early days of when you started.
So,
like, how did you get into PDR?
Yeah, so I was I went into school right out of. I just wasn't gonna. I knew I wasn't the 4-year college guy, right? You know, I just knew that, and so when a few of my buddies didn't go, and a few did, and so I was already a scuba diver, and I was already a welder, and so I decided I'd go under underwater welding and demolition. So I moved to California. I went to college engineering schools. Funny enough, Vince D'Alessandro was going to go to the same damn diving school, and he didn't end up going, but it's kind of funny. We had a lot in common, and he had been there, visited it, and everything. So it was on the Los Angeles Harbor, but it was, just underwater welding, demolition, putting stuff together, all that good stuff. Well, it turned out to be so dangerous. I honestly came home. It was just a 2-year AS degree. I came home with my tail between my legs, and I didn't want to do that. I mean, it was all taught by Navy dive officers that were missing digits and, with pressure and stuff. And I'm like, God, this doesn't seem that great. It really doesn't. But I just had heard $250 an hour, and this was in the 80s. So I thought, hey, let's go,
Yeah.
I knew Vince was watching.
Pardon?
Vince is always watching.
Oh yeah, hey, there he is. Very dangerous. There he is.
He shows up every week.
So Vinny was going to go to the same damn school, which is pretty cool. Commercial Diving Center, College of Engineering. Anyway, so I came home, tail between my legs, always a car guy. Got a job at a place called Sears and Portadotos. Don Sears gave me my first chance, and I was a service writer. And I was a very young service writer, 21 years old. And we had Rolls-Royce, Peugeot, BMW, and Mercedes. And there was this guy that used to come in, and he had a Mercedes. And every other time he came in, he wanted to push that he did paintless dent repair. And it was like his guy's name was Jürgen Holzer. He had worked in the BMW factory in Munich. He's German, full-blooded German. You can barely understand him. He worked in the BMW factory from 69 till 83. So he had moved over here with his mother, and he didn't know what he would to do. So he was working for his uncle, because his uncle was already here, and that's why they made it to Minnesota. He was doing gray market cars. So he's putting like crash beams and, kilometers to speedometers and doing that type of thing. And then he decided, hey, wait a second. I wonder if there'd be any reason that I could do what I did at the BMW factory. Let me see if I can, maybe make some tools like I used to do and take some dents out. So that's what he was trying to do with me. But every other time he came in, he would want the car serviced. So, I was always nice to him. I'm always nice to everybody. And then the next time he was like, I'm like, no, dude, you see that door right there through the service aisle? That's a body shop. I don't know what you're pushing here, buddy, but I don't know what you're smoking, dude, but you need to go bye-bye, right? And so one day he was pretty smart. And he came in and he said, hey, do you have a second? I got my car outside. I want you to look at something. I said, sure. So we walked out, and he grabbed a hammer, one of the same hammers I use today. And he grabbed it, and he put a big old dent in his Mercedes. And I'm like, whoa. I'm backing up. He's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, wow. And he goes, can I work on it right? Can I work on it right here? I'm like, no, man, this isn't a good spot. Right in front of the service aisle door. Like, no. So he ended up moving to the back. I couldn't think of anything. Hey, David, I couldn't think of anything but this crazy German with a hammer for, hitting his own car. Yeah, Jürgen is a legend. Absolutely, Lee. And so I was, basically begged him for a couple of years, and finally he decided to train me. So that was pretty cool. And that was 89. That was a long, long time ago. And well, actually, that's not true. It's so long ago, it sounds like I started in 89 with him. I started on my own in 89 because he wouldn't train me. But I was the only one selling stuff for him in the service aisle. So I would look at his tools. I would go try to make a tool similar to it. He had a lot of screwdrivers back then and different stuff. So I'm getting panels from the body shop. I'm trying to teach myself for a year, and I'm doing a little bit. I'm making a little bit of money. And he heard about that, of course. And then he decided, all right, well, I better train your ass, get you right. So he trained me. And back then, you guys aren't even going to believe this, $50,000. It was 2-month training, $50,000. Get this. Over the next 5 years, he wanted royalties. First year, he wanted $5,000. Second year, he wanted 10, then 15, 20, 25. And I'm like, I can't even do the math. I'm looking at this guy going, what? and I had to get a calculator out, and I realized you want $125,000. I don't even know if I can do this. You've already said you can't train. You're not going to be able to. You never trained anyone. You said that, like, wow, But I also saw what he was doing, and he was only charging like $60 a panel, but he'd make $500-600 a day, and I thought that was incredible back then, in the late 80s, right? Or that would be 85, 86 is when I was really trying to really get him to go. Took me a few more years, but anyway, long story short, I did stay with him. I did talk him out of that other bullshit. It was just 50. It wasn't the rest, but it still was a big chunk of change. And what's terrible, I could be wrong, but I heard Jurgen and Lido never met. This is the honest truth. We tried to get Jurgen and Lido to meet a couple times, and Lido wasn't ready. Jurgen was, but Lido wasn't. And I've got some good stories about that, because in the late, I guess it would have been right around 90, 91, it gets cold as hell here in the winter. So I would go with him, and we go to Palm Beach. We went to Beverly Hills. We went to all these places. Well, Lido was there already too. And it was funny. It was like these guys treated it like their city. Like you don't even have to leave Minneapolis, man. We've got hundreds of dealerships, but they treated it like they would only go to the Ferrari, right? They would only go to, the top, Rolls Royce of Beverly Hills, the Porsche dealership, it was just really quite amazing how they really wanted to be in Palm Beach, or they wanted to be, here or there. They were kind of like, and Lido always wore tie and stuff, and Jurgen used to wear a doctor's uniform, like a doctor's coat. And, he would be very, like this. So it was really kind of cool. But no, they never met, Lee. That was a great thing to bring up, and it's really sad, because I have dinner with Jurgen once a month. We're still tight. He's in his 80s, and I'm going to try to find a picture of him here at our last event. But yeah, it's just the craziest thing, and without him, I wouldn't be here, and I was able to be trained. And they figured it out that he was here about a year and a half to a year to 8 months before Lido even got here. So that was pretty cool. So Jurgen was definitely the first, and supposedly I was one of the first guys trained, other than, I know there's guys at Ford dealerships and stuff like that. So supposedly I was like one of the first guys trained in the United States. And I just love what I've seen change. We had 10 tools, you guys. We made them all out of trunk springs. We could only get to about 50% of the car. I didn't use a light, you guys. So there was no lights back then, right? We made our own tools. We didn't know what we were doing. He's telling me, oh, use the edge of the garage door. We use the ceiling tiles. Use the wall there. Like, what? I mean, I was 2 feet away from the dent, just cracking paint over here, thinking I'm doing good over here. Like, what the hell? I mean, I had 2 years of the biggest struggle of my life. I mean, it was really something. And there was no knockdowns either. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard me say this, but there was no knockdowns, right? So he was a hammer guy. That's how we learned in the factory. So that's what I was doing. So a dime-sized dent for me in my first day of training was the size of a grapefruit by lunch, because I couldn't freaking come. It's just what the hell? Yes, we are an old farts, aren't we, dude? But it's just crazy how what I've seen has just been remarkable. Now I'm training girls, with the ergonomics of all the tools, and the AHA handles and all the different things, and the tactical handles and all the different things are just absolutely changed everything for us. And I just think it's amazing. It's a great time to to be here, to just see you guys doing bigger and bigger smashes that I would have never dreamed possible.
Yeah. So were you mobile for a while?
I always had a shop from the very beginning, but I ended up training 7 guys. So I had 7 guys. We were taking care of over 30 dealerships. We were running around with our heads chopped off. We own the 7-county metro area. So yes, we ran all the time. But as soon as we had anything big, we always were doing retail too. But back then it was like 20%. Now it's 100%. I fired all the dealerships about 12 years ago. It was the best day of my life. But it's just interesting how it's, the involvement of how I did it and where I did it. And the guys that all work for me are still doing it. We're still friends, but a lot of that stuff I just gave to them because it got to the point, guys, where I hated it. I love what I did. I always enjoyed that part. What I didn't like was we were getting with dealerships here. I don't know about your guys' area, but the good ones would pay in 30 days. Most of them paid 60, 90. And I had a huge deal that had like 10 dealerships that we owned all of those dealerships out of the 30 we had. They paid in 120 days. So I always had this massive line of credit at the bank. And so, because my guys needed to eat every 2 weeks, they got families. So I was just constantly doing Peter to pay Paul. And then at the end of the day, there just wasn't a ton of money left, even though there should have been,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing? This isn't what I'm not loving this at all, so I just made it smaller, I just made it smaller and better, and more money came with being smaller, and I didn't have to pay out, all those different things. So there's only one with me, Joshua, only one. So, but we're all still friends. A couple of them were in the room. I had about 20 guys out of those 55 guys that I had trained that were actually trained with me. So that was nice to have a bunch of us together. Super fun. So
cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. So back where did he end up fixing his dent that he put in his car?
He actually worked right outside in the frickin' sun, which I can't do. I don't know how you guys do it, honestly. I mean, you give me any car that you work on it outside and you pull it in, and I'm going to finish something for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the guys make them look really nice outside. I'm not saying that everybody, if that's how you do it, that's how you do it, and you do well. But I could never.
I don't enjoy it per se because it is hot in the South. It gets pretty warm, and especially out in a parking lot with no breeze or no trees or anything.
Oh, and we did it, Nick. Trust me. I remember sliding out. You get into with one leg on the ground and you're leaning over like a freaking, what do you call the ostrich or whatever the damn thing.
Yeah.
You get all the sweat. You just slide right off the car.
Yeah. I've backed up before and I've seen my body planted on the car. I'm like, man, I got to wash the whole car now.
Right.
Yeah, get all your sweat off of it. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just sweating because I can't get the dent out.
Outside, though, you can't use lights. You got to use some type of reflection board. So, I found those to be really useful for me, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up a few because I struggle when it's sunny. I mean, I have the Get a Grip umbrella and I'll set that up, but still, it's like, man, I can't freaking see. I'm like constantly changing the battery on my light just to get it brighter.
Most dealerships were accommodating to us. They let us go inside, but there was a couple of them that were union and they had body shops and the guys were pissed and you'd have to go outside. And I'd always just try to get, I had a couple times where there was no outlets. I had like a 300, like 3 or 4 cords put together to get my light. Cause back then we plugged it in, right? I mean, everything was plugged in, right? So it was just a different time. But if I got it in the shade and I got a light on it, then I could do really good work, But we didn't even think of an umbrella back then. I mean, give it to Maddie for coming up with all these Get a Grips,
Yeah,
he was a huge hit the show. Actually, we were using his stuff left and right. So,
yeah, I've been wanting to pick up some of his umbrella stuff. As a matter of fact,
that thing is well worth it.
Yeah,
well,
got like 3 or 4 of them, and I never even work outside. I just have them for soccer events and different things we were doing with the kids, and just to support Matt too. But I've got all his arms, the other stuff too. I mean, it holds a phone, it holds so many things. It holds the heat gun. I mean, they are really good things.
Yeah, you can do one of those too. So we were talking about earlier, we have win days and learn days. I know you've had them. I've had them. We're talking about the learn days. Is there one day that, or maybe one time that you can remember that put you down really good, that was a really good learning event for you that you might have forgotten them all, but
Not at the top of my head, but I have had a lot of fails. It's just one of those things. But I loved what you said. We're learning, and you do. I don't look at it that time at that point, but you do. You know what I mean? So, but we're pretty blessed. We've we don't have to rush anything anymore. I don't tell everybody it's going to be done that day. I used to be so important to me to say, oh, I'll have it done in 2 hours. I'll have it done by lunch, or I'll have it done by 4 o'clock. I'm like, hey, we'll call you when it's done. I don't want to be rushed anymore. I just would rather not.
You've reached that shop status in life to where you can.
And I like, if someone's giving me trouble, I like just leaving it alone for a little while and going over,
walking away,
whipping out 2 or 3 other dents on a different car, and then come back and go, what was my problem? This just came out super easy. Like, I think we lock up in our brains so much, you guys, that we're our own worst enemy. Sometimes we overthink, 100%. We overcalculate. Why is this? I was telling the group down there on Saturday or Thursday, Friday. I said, you guys, you ever really, really listen to a dent? And they were all looking at me like, what the hell? But you'll get it when I say this. It's funny when you're working on a dent and it's just it's fighting you. Maybe your crown, maybe it's a body line or something, and you're really pushing. It's really beating you up. But then you bounce over here where you think for sure it's going to be tighter. And all of a sudden, whatever you did over here, it's just butter, just moves and moves and moves. So, and then you jump back to that spot and it moves. It talks to you. Just move around the dent. Any young guys that are possibly listening or just getting into this, just be patient and get behind it. Even if it was 3 pokes to go over here was holding you up and you just made 20 pokes over here, go back to that spot. You might just be absolutely amazed that that's going to come up. But a lot of times we don't think that way. We already think, okay, I'm not going back there because that's already locked up. I know that I'm going to stay over here. But then you do that. And if you actually allow yourself and let the metal talk to you. I know this sounds really weird and I'm sure you're all rolling your eyes at me, but it works. It works.
No, I completely understand, especially if you have a dent that needs shrinking or anything like that. And there's a couple of dents around it. And maybe, you think, oh, well, I need to get this big one done first, because it's where everything's locked up. But if you build those ones out around it, then you've got enough chance for that one to actually move. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what Dwayne
I love that too. I got a good laugh out of it.
I think he said recently too, something, I think it was even in person. It's something, he's like, what I learned recently is if it ain't going, don't force it. He's like, and that helped me so much, and it's like, I got to keep repeating that to myself because we're body guys. We force everything.
You guys are
what
like
we do.
The owl in the tree. How many licks does it take to get to the center? 3.
One.
Right.
It's very true. It's a different mindset to switch over.
Yeah, when you just say you have a body line, maybe 2 style lines. In collision, the first thing you would do is get those style lines back in place. And in PDR, you have to retrain yourself. You can't necessarily just go balls deep on these style lines. You have to move it back and massage it and take from this section so you can put it on that section. And
a lot of times, you guys, in the last few years, I have thanks. Hey, Biggie. What's funny is the real deep dents in the style line, right? It's really V'd out. I mean, these Atlases, you guys, these freaking Jeeps. Some of these lines are getting sharper and sharper and sharper. Yes, it does. I told my students over the years, listen to the dent. I love that. Yes, agreed.
He said Atlas.
So with a body line, instead of me force that up, because I know I can if I use enough heat and everything, I can be just fine, and I'll save it and everything else. Nowadays, I'm going to go and freaking open that thing up like a U. I'm not even going to have any pressure in that thing. I'm going to pound for maybe 10 minutes and make that dent twice the size as it is, and then bring it up twice as fast. And I'm not going to fight it. I don't have to have that many times up and back, up and back, up and back, up and back. Go ahead and commit. It's kind of like throwing a rock into a pond. I tell my students, you take and you throw a rock into a pond, that's metal, right? And it kind of comes up and it has this, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with those crowns. I mean, so many people just don't. They start going after the bottom and then they're happy with the dent. And we've all had it where you drive through a parking lot to see how many dents are new. When I used to do car lots, like, ooh, who did that one? Ooh. I mean, you're better off leaving a little low than high. It's like, gosh, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. So I like to that takes care of that problem too, right? Let's knock the rock into a pond. Let's knock all that stuff down. Even the smallest dent has that. They really do. They really do. Especially with these ultra high strength steels and the high strength steel, we're dealing with so much. Like it's pretty much the norm now. It seems like for us. And so I like to open those up too, just a little bit. I'll do the dent 3 times as fast. And I'm talking 5 in a dent anyway, but I might spend 10 minutes on it if I just started poking at the center because there might be a little too much pressure there, Open it up, displacement. Exactly, brother.
I think for a lot of people that are just learning how metal movement and all that stuff is, the idea of taking a dent that is one size and making it bigger is just like hard to wrap somebody's mind around.
Oh yeah, that goes totally against everything we're trying to do.
Right.
We're trying to
make it smaller, not bigger, right?
Yeah. So I thought we was making it go away, not making it to where we can swim in it,
Right.
So I think that's a mental battle that people have to overcome. And once you get a few of those wins, then it becomes easier.
So what I love to do with guys, especially when they're freaked out because Mobile Tech RX is just giving up. Hey, 5 years ago, it gave us our shop a 40% raise. I mean, it was just because now I don't even have to be a salesman. It just punched it in. Here it is. Yeah. Would you agree it's 4 inches? Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to put 3, you see it through a body line. Yep. Okay. I'll add that. Okay. Ultra high strength thing. Oh, it's $600. You're like, holy shit, where it would have been $200, right? 5 years ago.
Right.
Before
if you just
and you'd have a hard time and you'd probably lose the job. They're like, hey, well, God, I guess it is what it is, type of thing. And I said, if it makes you feel any better, and especially the ones that are really, you can see they're struggling with the price of it. I say, one thing that we're not taking into effect, I just did measure that and it's 3 inches. But first thing I'm going to do is I tell them, I said, I'm going to make, you got a big sharp end part. I need to make this a U to bring it up. Right. So I'm going to actually make your dent about 3 times the size and then I'm going to fix it. And so you don't want me to measure at that point because it would be 3 times the money.
I like this.
And it's like, they're like, oh, no.
If you want, I can measure it later.
And I'll actually take videos on a lot of people's cars too and show them, hey, I had to open it up this far, it's just a quick text, hey, and they love that, it's you just bring them into the part of the repair, really, and for everybody out there, I use this with every customer and I get a lot of feedback and there's not a lot of guys in my area that I'm worried about this getting out. But I think it's so important to tell people that it's not about today. I always say it's not about today. I want you forever. I want to earn your trust. I want to earn your, Google review. But more importantly, I want to earn your friends and your family. And we're going to treat you like nothing else. And I think service is gone, guys. I really do. Even at fine restaurants, it's like, where's the freaking waitress? Like, this is just weird. Right. Like, I feel like that's gone. So we over service our customers to death. We might call them, hey, I'm calling you at noon. I'm calling them at noon. Hey, it's going great. Hey, no problem. We'll have this thing done by 2. Kim will call them at the end of the day. Hey, we definitely have it ready for you, blah, blah, blah. But more interaction, maybe even a picture or 2, just really bring them in. That's why we only have 5-star reviews. We don't have anything but a 5-star review. And we don't have enough of them, though. So I need to work on that. And we only have a few hundred, 250 or something. But some of these people have so many more than that, and I don't know how they do it, but I want to know.
Well, I'll tell you, my CRM, every time I finish a job, sends an automatic request to their text message. All I got to do is click on a link, and it brings it right up. They hit the stars, they fill out the thing, hit the button, they're done. You know, it's super.
We have a kick-ass CRM system. I need to add that to it. There's so many different things, you know. Hey, Cliffy.
Oh yeah. There's a lot to do. Over on TikTok, Tesla Daddy asks, you guys doing a lot of PDR on EVs, especially when it's energized still? And yes, and that's actually something that I want to have a show based on that, because I believe that these manufacturers need to start offering PDR certification. So a PDR shop can say, I'm BMW certified. I went to BMW and got trained on how to work on these vehicles, and their EVs, I know how to shut them down so I don't kill myself when I'm fixing your dent. So I think
everybody's got this, right? Pro Assist.
Pro Assist. I don't have that.
You guys all have to go get this immediately. It's like $4 or $5 a month. You just go in here and you can look up any single car. So you go in, and this is all for EV, right? You push in, you know, you just go in repair. So I don't know if I can show you guys this, but repair, and then you'll say like, let's grab a Fiat. Fix it again, Tony. So they've only got one car. So basically it shows all the components, all the locations, everything. So you know right away if you need to power this thing down or not. And then it shows you the procedures on how to power it down. It'll talk you all the way through it. It'll save your life. It's great. I was in the very first training class for the EV thing, and actually Vinny was sitting right next to me, and Kevin Andrews taught it, and I was actually hoping that, and then Vince did an incredible job. He trained hundreds, way more than Kevin ever did, but somehow it kind of fell away, and I've got about 15 guys that want to do it right now. So I wish we could do that somehow. Vince, if you're listening still.
That is really
he was so good at it. Maybe didn't like it, but he was very good at it.
That's very important information. It needs to get out there.
It really does. It really does. I mean, it's it can be difficult enough. Like I'm from the collision side, so I know how to take a car apart inside and out. But for a lot of guys that have never been through that route before, it's overwhelming. It can be really overwhelming. Now you add 300 volts of electricity through some of these wires,
13,000.
It's a lot.
It's all over. I remember we were all really hungover and having a great time the night before at Anson. You know, I think it was Vince and I and Wade Hartley and Daniel Grom and Alan Johnson. Who else was in that class? We had like 8 of us. But we were all kind of like this, and then all of a sudden he started talking, and he brought up the Chevy Volt. We had a Chevy Volt. We had a Volt, a Chevy dealer about 3 blocks away, and we still did them, even though I got rid of all my dealerships until about 2 years ago. I haven't done anything for them lately, but we would always do those at the dealership. You know, I've done hundreds of them at that point in time. This is probably 8 years ago, 5, 6, 8 years ago when we got certified. And I'm terrible at dates. And anyway, it was amazing to me that he said it always happens to those, and people can lose their arm, you know, if you just have one hand on the tool. But if you have 2 hands on the tool, you'll literally lock in and you'll die because the electricity will, you know, travel through your body, you know, and you can't do anything about it. We were all like this, and all of a sudden we were all like this. And we were leaning forward, and we were listening so contently. And I had said, I think he said to me, or at least I remember telling the guys about it. You know, it's hard to remember that far back, but I had said I'd done about 100 Chevy Volts, and it was only the good Lord that kept me alive, because I never powered any of those down. I never thought anything of it. And we all know how these happen, right? These things happen. That was the second class that Kevin caught. Yeah, they did an amazing job. Both. Yeah. So we were in the very first one with Vinny and I. But so, you know, what was amazing was the tool itself is the killer. But what happens is, and why these happen, you guys, is people have really messy garages at home, and they have the cables, right? And you guys have probably heard this a million times, and they're hooked around the bicycle or the lawnmower, right? And they've got this big heavy plastic thing and they're pulling like this and they bang their own fender. And so you do it all the way around because it finally gives, because people aren't organized, and that's where all these dents come from. And so you don't even think anything of it other than how easy you're going to be able to charge for it. You don't think about those things. So we got to slow down.
Yeah, no, we really do. I mean, even over here, Tesla Daddy over here mentioned there was one known death in a facility, a PDR tech working on a car. So yeah, it's
one's too many
at a factory. But yeah, one's too many. I mean, we gotta learn this stuff. You gotta stay away from the cables. Dwayne said they don't power them down in the factory, but they know where the cables are. So, and
that's why this Pro Assist is so great. Like usually it's the left quarter on Teslas. Otherwise you don't have to worry about shit. You really, this Pro Assist is huge, you guys. Pro Assist.
That's a good app takeaway right there, because
everybody needs to have Pro Assist. I think Vinny told me about that actually.
Yeah. We'll put out a post on
one of the two.
We'll put out a post on our social medias about it, because that's really good information.
That is.
Appreciate you telling us about that. I didn't know that even existed.
Yes.
So
I told everybody in the room too. I said you guys have to do that for sure. I hope everybody heard me.
That's awesome.
Good.
That's awesome stuff right there.
I mean, clearly you're passionate about training. You still do PDR training?
I do. Yep. I usually train more in the winter months because we get a little slower. I feel like we're a 9-month company in Minnesota. We all have the same problem. Gets cold, and people all do the same thing. We clean our little windshields off come late November, and we don't wash our cars for 3 fucking months. And then you wash your car in the spring and they get intimate with it. Like, hey, I got a dent, and then we get busy again. So I just always do that. Yeah. I always train in the winter months, and I really enjoy it. I usually train about 12 to 16 guys a year. And
awesome.
I'm very, very, very picky with who I train. I have a process that I weed out a lot of people. I could probably train 50 a year if I really wanted to. But I want the passionate guys. I want the best. I just don't want anybody that's even half-assing it. You get the dads that maybe have been working on their cars for a long time. Hey, my son doesn't know what he wants to do. I'd like to have him. Does he like cars? Well, not necessarily. I'm like, no, type of thing. And I've actually met a bunch of these kids too and asked them right in front of their dad. And they're like, no, I'm just trying to maybe, you're like, well, you're going to spend a lot of money to figure out that, you might not want to do this. And I've got such incredible numbers with the guys that I'm not trying to be weird here, but all my guys do very well, So I'm just super excited.
You know how to pick them.
And I do. And on top of that, I know how to train them. I've just been doing it I've been doing this 36 years, but I've been training for 30 years. And it's kind of like what Nick said earlier. I have lost on a few things. I always get all my dent guys to be great, but I've learned through the thing, like, why did I waste 3 days on that? It didn't work, no, we got to build on other things. So I've got it now where I build off the day before for the full month. And I usually tell my guys, like, we can, I'll have you do a, probably $800 crease on a body line on an aluminum hood, and you're going to glass it. It might frickin' take you 2 days. Right. But you will glass it, but you'll do that at the end of the 4 weeks. You're gonna be slow as molasses. Might even take you 3 days, but we're gonna get you there. But then what's so cool about that is in a year, I always tell them, hey, you're gonna be doing that in half amount of time. But if you're charging $800 a day, guess what? That's pretty good money.
Yeah,
so right. And now all of a sudden you can do 2 of those in a year, right? And so on and so forth. So it's
for sure. Once you put yourself in a situation where you get these really tough dents out of the way, then you step into the smaller ones. Those become super easy again.
Exactly.
So you got that hard stuff is where it's at. But you might be training guys that are beginners only, or do you do like some intermediate training?
God, in the last 5 years, I think I've trained like at least 10 painters, at least 10 body guys. It's just funny, but then a lot of younger guys too are getting into do it and stuff. But it seems like the painters are awesome. Body guys are too, but you guys get it, right? 1, 2, you're like, no, slow down, no. So body guys, I always tease my body guys, and I show it to them. I bring it in because it's not even charged, but it's a dog collar, shock collar. I said, I'm putting it. If you do that again, I'm getting you. You know, you're paying me to be here. Let's go. You know,
I was just gonna tell people to contact you for training, but I don't know.
That's you know what I was talking about, the body lines earlier, forcing damage back out. You know, you immediately want to get in there and just make it move. And a painter, he's looking at orange peel texture. You know, he's real intimate with how all this looks, and he's like, we're not disturbing no more than we have to. And that's funny because when we went to Kiko in Oklahoma, there was some body guys there, and then there were some painters there, and they vastly different in how they approach some of this damage. Yeah, and it's just cool to watch. It's cool to see, and you automatically know now, I'm sure, just by a few key words, how this person's going to react to some of this damage.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean, I'm also like, I could tell if somebody's going to make it in a body shop just by watching them push a broom. You know, like you just come in, push the broom. All right, they're going to do it wrong first, especially pushing in Bondo dust. The stuff is really fine. It's hard to sweep up. Sure. So show them how to do it.
Thank you,
don't get it, send them out.
Right.
I don't even want to talk to them. If you can't listen to me when I tell you how to sweep up the Bondo dust, then no, you're not going to make it in bodywork. Sorry. Because you gotta listen. There's
always that guy too. You know,
gotta learn.
I had one in the last class that he turned out to be great, but he was just my nemesis, man. I swear to God, the good Lord put him on this earth to teach me patience. I mean, it's like incredible, just amazing. Like I would show him something, and all other three guys are getting it, and he's like, I'm not getting it. And literally, like you want your hood, you know, there's a hood here. We got a hood here. We got the light here. And I walk over, and he's got his light like this.
Yeah.
I can see it better. No, you can't. No. But all I had to do was raise my voice a little bit with them. And I've never had to do that with any guy in my life, because he was talking over me. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Can't have that.
So it was so hard, and so it was just difficult to get it through, you know. Steven!
That's about every apprentice I've ever had.
Yeah.
And in a bodywork side, I'll tell you. Yeah. Except for maybe one, Megan, she did great.
It was hard for me to learn a light. Like that's one of the things I struggled with is light placement.
Me too.
And it was really just based on, like you said earlier, you know, keep it moving, keep it looking around. And I would say, you know, I can do it like this, and because I can see what I'm doing here instead of moving around to kind of test other spots, get other opinions. Is what I call it. So it took me a while to figure that out. But that and pressure on a tool for sure, because you don't have to be brute force on everything. You'll mess around and put a freaking TP up on a panel in no time with something. I was fortunate to have a bunch of used panels to practice with. So if I did mess it up, then we're just going to paint it anyway. So it didn't matter.
Sure. Nice. That's what's so important, to have those panels and just go after it, you know.
I'm confused.
Me too.
Steve says Nick has some fancy lights and Stefan is jealous.
What did you end up buying yourself? Did you get the Carbon Tech light and you don't have it, Stefan?
He does not have that light.
No, I don't. I don't have the Carbon Tech. I haven't. I don't know. Fancy.
I don't know what Steve's talking about. I bought the first 48-inch. I bought the first X Factor light ever last year. right off the MTE floor from the Denton Olympics.
You're right about
and then
that.
They couldn't get them. They couldn't get them for like 6 months, and then they came out with them again. But I was the first. I knew I was buying a light, so as soon as I walked onto the floor that day, I went right over to James, and I'm like, yeah, one, please.
Let's go.
One.
Oh, the mini Stucky light. I think that's what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah. I did get one of those
lights.
little mini guys.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I did not pick that up. I am looking at that Illuminate little mini light and Pro PDR just upgraded theirs too.
They did. Yeah.
You know, I'll take a look at that as well. Actually, I saw that on your live.
Oh,
actually, that's how I learned that.
Because that's originally Pro PDR did that with that was the brainchild of why am I drawing a blank? Who's Paul Gordon? That was PK's deal.
Oh,
then Don has too. I do.
Yeah. No, I love my X Factor light. It's big. It's for the bigger damage. I don't use it for everything, but when I have something on a roof, it's awesome. Excuse me, it's awesome. Usually, I'm using my mobile Illuminate on my Ultra stand on the Medusa, or I'm using my Kiko light that came with the L2E.
How is that Kiko light? I've never even seen the fade on that.
Love it. I mean, I'm no expert.
Is Stucky and Pro PDR?
I'd say it's more finer detail, kind of like a Stucky. I love it. It's four LED. You can have any of them on or off at once, and it's 36 inch, so it's not too big. The stand's pretty nice too, because my stand with the X Factor has a never loose on it. So when I started using the Kiko light, I was going, man, I'm gonna miss that never loose. It's actually a nice stand with a nice light. I mean, the never loose is better, but it's a great setup. So I really like that Kiko light. Yeah, it's the same one Cam Auto sells too. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
same exact light.
That's
I know Daniel Grom loves his DNE light. Absolutely loves it.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that they either like the Stucky light or the DNE light. I find those crowds. They're either in one of those two.
Ooh, send me the link, Lee.
He will. He sits right there.
You made my night.
Is it too bright? Is that the one too bright?
There's no dimmer. So So I mean, usually the battery goes halfway and then you're good. No, that's great. I love the dimmer, and that means my battery will last longer too.
Yes,
so that's great.
That's awesome.
Well, Don, thanks for coming on. We made it. We made it the full hour.
Wow, it seems like we've only been doing it for like 2 seconds. This is cool.
Yeah, we just started. I mean, it was an easy conversation.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Yeah, there it goes.
There you are.
There it goes.
Okay.
It was filtering out really bad. I don't know.
I don't know why that happened, but don't worry about it.
There's no telling.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on.
PDR.
That's amazing. That's great.
I'm just an old guy.
The dimmer the light here, more you miss the low.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the dimmer the light.
You want to crank it up when you're showing the customer. Hey, let me show you in the light. That look good.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, no, I like generally I like a brighter light. It's just, man, there's some times when that thing, there have been a few times where I wish I could have dimmed it. You know why it is? For photos. I take photos for insurance companies, and that light is bright, and then you put the light on the panel, it just washes it all out. So if I could dim it, taking pictures will be a lot easier. But yeah, no matter what, it's nice to have that
there, Stefan, because they can, right? Looking at your puppy there, he's just having all sorts of fun.
Yeah, she does whatever she wants. She does whatever she wants
because they can.
Yeah,
you're the best, Lee. Thank you, and you're the best, Don.
Just say I missed that.
Oh, he put in a link.
The link for it. Great.
Yep, I can grab the link off of there.
Bang,
Perfect.
bang, Robbie.
Use the line boards for
bang,
insurance.
bang.
That is a good idea.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Well, old Teddy Nugent.
Yeah. Line boards for photos. Yeah, those are good. I have 4 of those big blowout line boards. Just, the sun will filter through one of them. Just because, I feel like they work pretty good in conjunction with lights.
I've got a question for you guys out there that are doing a lot of hail. We do a lot of hail too, but we haven't circled a car in about 4 or 5 years. We just don't do it anymore. And we seem to get a lot more money. Are you guys seeing that? Do you guys deal with that at all? A lot of my guys will just say, hey, if you're asking for 50 dents and you're circling, 50 dents and I can't see the circles, I actually have a better, the adjusters are telling us this. I have a better thing. If you guys could take some up close pictures and tell me there's 50, in a cluster, I have a way easier time giving you what you want versus the other, because then I can up the number of because a lot of these guys were body guys. They understand. They know that, and we're not ripping them off or anything here. I'm not saying anything to the fact. I just feel like we're underpaid when it comes to hail. I do it. Give you an idea. I did a dent the other day. It was $300 last Wednesday, and it was one dent. And I did a $300 hail hood because that's all they wanted done. They bought it like that, and it was like 19 dents. It's like, really. So it's if we can ask $400 or $500 and the guy doesn't have the circles to put them down to 19, a lot of times they'll give you that extra money because they know to replace that hood or to paint it and blend the fenders. It's ridiculous, just way out of that category. So I think we need to be a little bit more proud, especially when it comes to these Teslas and stuff, guys. We do a ton of Teslas, and then I'll let you guys go. I just want to put this one more thing out there.
Oh, yeah.
We did about 3 or 4 of them, and we had one of them that had a pretty good size, probably about like that, on the bottom of a door, and it was like $2,200. And the guy didn't even blink. It was insurance. It sat there for about a week, but he didn't even blink on it. And so that was fine. And then I had another car after that, and he said, I'm going to okay it right away. I did the one for you guys about a month ago. And I said, really? He goes, this is only $2,200. Do you know that the body shop was like $8,000 for that? They're going to put a door on it and paint the whole side of the car because it was pro white and this and that. He goes, you don't even think twice of okaying $2,200, but that's as high as I could get it. On Mobile Tech, I put every factor in there and I did everything I could and I measured it and I just went to town. But I should have told him I shouldn't have had to justify anything and said $4,000. And basically what he was telling me was, we're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Right. Half of the money. So I think we're leaving a lot more money on the table, even though I feel like our chest is out with Mobile Tech RX. So I want you guys your homework is to try to get more.
I don't know how anybody else does it. This is just how I do it. And I'll give you guys a sample of what I do. But you ever seen a cluster of 4 or 5 dents in one spot, and they make kind of like a big, nasty looking dent? So if you're doing hail and you see oversized, double oversized, that no matter how you put that, it's not enough money. So I will go to price a dent. I will mark that out and make that from one end to the other. I don't draw lines. I don't circle. I don't do anything. I put it in the line board and I put a dot on where it starts bending in the lines on one end and bending on the other. And I use price a dent for that.
We do the same.
You can go through and edit each individual thing. And I don't circle any of the dents, but I leave the small ones what they are, and then I make it the oversized and what I feel like they are in a different category. So I will mark the oversized, but as far as the quarter size dents and stuff, I don't really mark those. I just take pictures with the lines.
That's good. We did we got a little bit of push. Whatever you do when you write it down there, don't put PAD. When in 19, we had Dream Team 19 at Dentcraft, and it was Paul Corden, Tim Corden, myself, Clifton, Atkins, Ray Sapnew, myself, Troy, my guy, Randy Hobson was there, a few others, and we just had the greatest time. But we were putting price of dents on because they were the really big dents that storm, and so we were putting it everywhere, and we had PAD on there, and the insurance adjusters were still coming out because it was before 2020. They were losing their minds. You're padding this. You're padding this. It's like, no, price a dent, PAD. They were losing their minds. We were like, no, it's called price a dent, dude. Like, this is crazy. Yeah. But I think that it was well justified after we had a few conversations with them, and we were getting it. We just were getting everything we were asking for.
So, when you're marking and doing all your photos and all that, do you pick a window like a side glass and write the amount on all the roof? And
I used to.
You don't do that anymore?
I used to do that all the time. And I'd write them right on the windshield or whatever it might be. Go over to the right side so I can read my right. I'm right-handed, so I would do it all, on the windshield. But no, I just do it all in notes now.
Yeah.
What we're doing now, and it's really changed our world, was 2 years ago, they weren't coming out. We had like 30 cars on the ground, and it was a decision why I opened up the other side that you guys didn't even see in the lives, but there's another side that equals the size. And so what I was having, all these cars were staged in there. We were waiting 30 days to get okays on hail damaged cars that would, we had pulled the headliners down. We already did it all that way. So 2 years ago, I changed it up, and it was the best thing ever. A year and a half ago, we did it, I guess. And so now we actually have the customer come in. I had 2 estimates today, because we just had some hail, which is nice. And so what was interesting was we just go ahead and have them sit for an hour. They can drop it off if they want to. I can do it all in about an hour, take pictures, get all the, get everything, send them off, get it okayed, then bring it in. And we're so much more productive with making that change a year and a half, 2 years ago. So now when they're scheduled in, we get to start on the second they drive in the door. Now, and what was happening was we were having many of them that were using up their 30 days on their rental car, and the cars were apart, and it was on the insurance company, but the insurance company would fight us and say, nope, it's only 30 days. I've talked to you every day for 30 days, and you haven't okayed it. This is on you, not on them. You need to pay more, but they won't. So many people left their insurance carriers because they treated them so shitty. But unfortunately, a little bit it shines back on us, doesn't it, guys? Makes us look a little bad too. So I make sure that when I do my estimates, when I send them in, and I think you guys should all do this. It's your decision. I'm just telling you what I do. I CC the customer and like today I had one at State Farm, one at Progressive. I CC both customers with it, because so many times they'll come back to me and they'll say, oh, the customer will call and say, they tell me that you didn't even send it in. They didn't even get it yet, and now it's like, well, take a look at your email. You'll see it's time stamped and you were involved with every piece of it. So then they get lied to, and then they can blow up at them, but the insurance companies are trying to make us shops look really bad. And I just feel like that protects you guys. So if you, from now on, just CC your customers, and that way they get their pictures and everything too, because obviously all you could do is, boom, 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 always share it with your customer every single time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't blind copy. I freaking CC it. I want them to see it.
Yeah. The customer's going to see this too. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll even say that in the remarks. Hey, I'm sending this in. And it seems to be faster. It seems to be faster.
Put them on their best behavior.
It does, because they know that they're going to be in the response. So, but thank you guys so much. I know we're way over time here.
I know you were good. There's no real time limit.
Yeah, that's well, it is getting late on the East Coast, I'm sure. But yeah, it was an awesome episode. Glad we got to talk and hang out and share some of the stories and stuff. And yeah, you guys still listening and hanging out with us, don't forget to go over to Cam Auto and if you got questions, be sure to answer that stuff.
Shoot us some questions on our post on our Facebook. If you have any questions about the GPR PDR competition, 16-hour dents.
Damn. Damn.
This is gonna be something else. So he has openings for spectators to just come and watch. So if y'all want to come and come. Trey knows my whole area.
Love you, brother.
Yeah. I met Trey at David's Dance for Kids this year.
David White.
Fun. David White. Yep.
David White.
Yep. That's my buddy. He's right down the road from me.
Oh, he's not that far from you. Good.
Yeah. Actually, I work there every Friday.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I help him out.
Oh.
Yeah. I do a little extra dent work for him.
Awesome.
So he's been scheduling more. Yeah,
awesome.
It's been a lot of fun.
Well, awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. To everybody else, have a great week. We'll see you next week. Hold on. Wait, before we go. I don't know if you all have seen Idle Buff on social medias. She's a writer. She's a genius writer, really good writer. She's going to be on the show next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Don't miss it.
Everybody talking about how writing cars, this, that, and the other, how to get times and all that stuff. If you want to know how collision shops do it, the inside, come by next week and hang out with us and learn some more.
It's going to be fun. All right. Bye, everybody.
See you.